The special illustration rare cards for the Scarlet and Violet era have taken the world by storm. They feature some amazing Pokemon with some equally fascinating artwork. The values haven't quite hit that of the alternate art cards for the Sword and Shield era, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna get there eventually. The Scarlet and Violet era was also the first era to feature trainer cards in this beloved and highly sought after section. So it's no longer just your fan favorite Pokemon that you can pull extremely rare versions of, you can also pull cards of iconic and equally appreciated trainers. Today, we're going to go over the top 20 most expensive special illustration rare cards that are featured in the Scarlet and Violet era. I think a lot of the prices might surprise you, so let's go ahead and take a look at that list right now. So we're going to go in descending order, starting from the least expensive card to the most expensive card. And beginning our list, we have the Charizard EX from Obsidian Flames. Unfortunately, this card has fallen from grace since it first released. It was very expensive for quite some time, but the set in of itself doesn't have very many pulls or very many other interesting cards in it, so this card was either overpulled or overbought and has tanked its value. Its artwork is very nice, it's very unique, and it's the first one that we've actually seen like this in the Scarlet and Violet era, but unfortunately, just due to the whole set in general, its value does not hold up. But let's take a look at some values. So we've as far back as September 4th at $71.37. Shortly thereafter is its high on September 18th at $71.85. It looks like its low is on July 1st at $39.65, and its current value goes for $42.05. Then at number 19, we have the Zapdos from Scarlet and Violet 151. So I love this card because it features the other two legendary birds in it as well. The colors are popping, they're very vibrant, and it honestly just feels like a very classic card that we receive every generation of Pokemon cards where it features the three legendary birds, right? Let's take a look at some values. So we as far back as September 18th, which also happens to be its high at $46.20. Its low is on April 22nd at $31.71, and its current value goes for $42.65. At number 18, we have the Venusaur EX special illustration rare card from Scarlet and Violet 151. So we recently went over all of the illustration rare cards and the most expensive ones. The whole Venusaur line was featured on there, so we had Bulbasaur and Ivysaur, and it was really nice. You get to see the whole artwork, the whole evolutionary line, and it features Venusaur obviously at the end in the SIR version. It's really great stuff. Let's take a look at some values. We have roughly a year ago, September 18th, $41.20. It looks like its high is on November 13th at $47.10. Its low is April 22nd at $35.85, and its current value is $42.90. At number 17, we have the Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX from Twilight Masquerade. This is a really nice card. You have the Teddiursa and Munchlax watching its big elder Bloodmoon Ursaluna kind of hog all the honey, and the artwork and the aesthetic of the overall picture is very unique. I don't think it's one we quite see too much within the Pokemon card scene. Let's take a look at some values. We have June 3rd, $54.58, which is roughly around pre-release for this set. This happens to be its high, and its current value, I believe, happens to be around its low on August 29th. $44.49. I mean, yeah, it goes down a little bit more, $44.46 August 20th, but around there is its low. Then up next, we have the Gardevoir EX from Paldean Fates. This is a really nice card, especially because Gardevoir happens to be shiny, right? It's kind of got that blue tint, and then this overall mystical sort of enchanted nighttime forest scene is really wonderful. It's really nice to look at. Let's look at some values here. So we have roughly around pre-release $66.57 on January 15th. Then shortly thereafter was its high on January 22nd, $68.61. It looks like its low might be currently where it's at $45.66. Then at number 15, we have the Kieran Trainer SIR card. This is a really nice card, and it's the first trainer version of an SIR to enter into this list, which is pretty cool. So yeah, essentially, as you probably know, with the Scarlet and Violet era, they just introduced trainer cards into the most coveted slot, right, which would be illustration rare, special illustration rare cards. And yeah, I mean, they've done a fantastic job so far. They've really captured the aroma, the personality of these trainers kind of in their natural setting, their natural scene within the games and the show that we see them in, right? So it's really nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at some values. So I will say the graph is a little funny here, but we have as far back as June 1st, $39.88. Then it looks like its high is over here, July 28th, $59.57, And right now it says that there's $0 value on this card, which is not true. I guess it's just no recent items sold, so it kind of stays at around the $0 mark. But if we're to go as far as where there is data for, we have August 15th, which is roughly $50.77. Then up next, we have the Walking Wake EX from Temporal Forces. So Temporal Forces was really unique in the sense that they took sort of these beloved and unique legendary Pokemon from various generations, and they made them even more unique, right? So we have Walking Wake, which is kind of this funky version of Suicune. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I don't think it's my favorite, but I think it still has the potential to grow on me. But the artwork and the colors in this specific card is pretty fantastic, actually. I do really love the overall cool color scheme going on. Let's take a look at some values. We have March 4th, $41.33. It looks like its high is March 18th, $56.97. Its low is on April 29th, $37.47, and its current value goes for $49.53. Then up next, we have the Blastoise EX coming in from 151, and similar to what I said about the Venusaur, if you look at the Squirtle and Wartortle line, it tells a wonderful story through the illustration rare cards and then ends off with the Blastoise, sort of that story of evolution and how this Blastoise kind of came to be as a Pokemon, right? I think it's really cool, and not to mention the artworks leading up to it are fantastic. 151 blew it out of the park with all of the artworks and featuring all of our beloved original generation of Pokemon, right? Let's look at some values. We have September 18th, $50.76. It looks like its high is shortly thereafter, October 2nd, $56.62. Its low appears to be over here, I would say, April 22nd, $40.95, and its current value is $50.85. At number 12, we have the Roaring Moon EX coming in from Paradox Rift. This is a really nice Pokemon too, because as mentioned before, with sort of the Temporal Forces Paradox Pokemon, you have this Roaring Moon, which is obviously Salamence, and this is one of the better pulls from Paradox Rift. It's one of the only few really strong and solidified ones, especially in the SIR slot, right? But it's nevertheless fantastic. You have Roaring Moon kind of screaming away and flapping its wings at the Screamtails and then the other Paradox Pokemon around it. So let's look at some values. We have October 9th, $74.99. Its high is shortly thereafter on October 30th, $114.61. Certainly not bad. Then it looks like its low is roughly here, May 13th, $52.43, and its current value is $57.27. Then at number 11, we have Iron Crown EX coming in from Temporal Forces. So again, yeah, I believe this is supposed to be the Cobalion version of a Paradox Pokemon. This is the future version, so it's all robotic and everything like that. I think I'm more of a fan of the Ancestor version, the older kind of Jurassic version, I guess. I don't know what to call it. I think it is just Ancestor, right? But yeah, I do love the look of this card, though. I think it's nice how Iron Crown is sort of the center of attention with the moon behind it. It really draws in your focus. And then you have these little details of, I guess, funky looking trees. I don't really know what they are. I think they're trees sort of surrounding Iron Crown. So it looks really nice to me. Looking at the data, we have March 4th, $55.68, which also happens to be its low. Its high is March 18th, $95.58, and its current value is $59.90. We then break into the top 10. So the 10th most expensive SIR coming from the Scarlet and Violet era is the Fezandipiti EX from Shrouded Fable. Now I will say, this card will definitely, more than definitely, make its way down the list, and it might even get phased out at the end. I'm not even sure. Shrouded Fable is relatively new, and unfortunately, these cards are not holding up that well because the set is so small. It's so easy to pull and just buy the singles, right? So, I don't know. I think before we know it, I think there might be, there's one more Shrouded Fable card on this list. I think they're going to slowly make their way down, but if you've watched my other videos, you know how I feel about the SIRs for Shrouded Fable. They should have been swapped with the IRs. I think the IRs just tell a better story of the Pokemon, but nevertheless, let's look at some values. So we have as far back as July 28th, $96.59, not bad, happens to be its high, and its current value, which is on its way down, is $60.55. We move into the number 9 slot. We have the Iono Special Illustration Rare card. Again, another trainer card. This, I believe, is our second one, but I think the top 8 or so kind of have a little more for sure, a little more trainer cards. This is Iono. When this card first came out, this was all the rage for Paldea Evolved. I think unfortunately when the chase card is a trainer card, I think it doesn't hold up as well. because this was kind of out during the hype of the waifu craze, how they evolved, right? So everybody wanted Iono, but I think when that craze sort of died down, it's still here a little bit, but when that craze sort of died down, I think this card fell from grace. It used to be really expensive. September 4th, we have a value of $102.06, which happens to be its high, and then from there, yeah, it just goes down. Its low is relatively recently, August 5th, $65.24, and its current value is $66.55. Then at number 8, we have the Cassiopeia coming in from Shrouded Fable, and my same feelings on this card as I have for Fezandipiti. I just think it's going to continue to decrease in value. I mean, it sort of looks like it's plateauing, and I think this will be the big chase card from the set, but I think in the next few months, I don't know, $40, maybe 50, 30, 35, I don't know, maybe 40. It'll probably be like Obsidian Flames, to be honest with you, where it'll just kind of sort of fall into obscurity a little bit. I think the artwork is fantastic. I mean, you have Cassiopeia or Penny over here on their computer just typing away, because this was Penny's or Cassiopeia's specialty within the game. It was really cool, but a very nice card. I just don't think the value is going to hold up. Let's look at some values. We have July 27th, $200. Not bad. Only one item sold though, so definitely a little bit biased there, but that happens to be its high, and its current value is its low at $72.89. At number 7, we have the Perrin from Twilight Masquerade. So this is another SIR trainer card. As I said, they're going to be a little bit rampant right now. Actually, there's not too many left, but this is Perrin. This is a fantastic artwork. I personally really would like this card. You have that vibrant green, bright background behind Perrin, who's taking some photos. It looks like there's a Hisuian Growlithe, I believe, within the camera lens. It's really nice stuff. I think it's such a nice card, the way everything's laid out. Twilight Masquerade really killed it with their SIR trainer cards, in my opinion. Even the top card, which we're going to see, is fantastic too. But let's look at some values. We have June 3rd, $77.93. It looks like its low is June 18th, $69.86. Its high is roughly over here, $81.30 on July 15th. And its current value is $76.11. At number 6, we have Raging Bolt EX from Temporal Forces. Again, similar to what I've said about other Pokemon from Temporal Forces, they took these beloved and unique Pokemon and they kind of turned them all crazy, right? Or their paradox form. Also, I got it wrong before. I said ancestor. I think I meant ancient form, but sort of in the same caliber, I suppose. But here we have the Raikou version of the Paradox form, right? This is the Paradox Raikou called Raging Bolt. This is the one I actually like the least. In my opinion, they made him a giraffe. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. It just, and then they have the cloud around him. I don't know how I feel about it, but let's look at some values. We have March 4th, $52.98 happens to be its, no, it's not its low. April 29th is its low, $49.88. And then its high is May 20th at $99.11. And its current value goes for $77.31. Breaking into the top 5, we have the Carmine or Carmine. I don't know if I'll ever nail it until I figure out somebody from the Pokemon company who actually says their name. We have Carmine. Maybe it might just be Carmine. Anyways, this is a really nice artwork. I mean, if you just look at the way the light kind of reflects all around her, and then sort of the overall festival sort of feeling that you have, and the carnival kind of feeling that is likely going on around her with all the lights and the lens flares, the detail, that's just incredible. I don't know. They went all out with this card. Let's look at some values. We've roughly its high, which is June 3rd, $117.20. It looks like it's currently at its low though at $83.83. The fourth most expensive card, or special illustration rare card, but probably card in general, to be coming from the Scarlet and Violet era, is the Mew EX from Paldean Fates. This is such a nice card. The artwork is really unique. We've been seeing a lot more with the Scarlet and Violet era, where it's sort of this coloring book, blocky, very large kind of lines, and then solid colors to kind of define the Pokemon. It's very unique. We might have seen it in the WotC era or something like that, but we haven't really seen it since. I think it's really good stuff, especially with this Mew EX. I mean, the picture on TCG Player does not do it justice. The way it reflects in the light and the way it shines is honestly just awesome. I would love to pull this card, but it'll probably be very difficult. Let's look at the values. We have January 15th, $92.55. Its high is January 22nd, $133.96. It looks like its low is roughly over here, $74.37 as of March 4th, and its current value is $95.61. Entering into the top 3, we have the Charizard EX from Paldean Fates. So this, along with the Mew and the Gardevoir, kind of make a really fantastic trio of cards you would want to pull. There's also an Iono card in there, which I think is really cool too, and I'm biased because I pulled it, but this is a really nice card. I mean, if you just compare this to the Charizard EX from Obsidian Flames, I don't know, personally I definitely prefer this bad boy. Look at the colors. It's because it's a shiny Charizard too, right? So you have the black skin, and then you have sort of the red wings, and it's just fantastic. It's really good stuff. I love the look of this card. Let's look at some values here. We have January 15th, $162.29. And then it looks like its high is January 22nd, $184.14. Its low is March 25th, $103.64. And then its current value is $116.62. The second last, or second most, I should say, expensive card to be coming out of Scarlet and Violet era, which is an SIR, is the Charizard EX from 151. You probably knew this was coming. This was all the rage for quite some time, as is deserving. I actually really like it. I think it is very pretty. You have the Charizard kind of off in the distance, flying over the canyons and volcanoes, etc. And like I said, if you see the Charmander and Charmeleon line, you'll see that it tells a really nice story. In my opinion, this one might be the best story that the cards tell, of sort of a Charmander trapped in a canyon, and then as a Charmeleon, it's jumping up and trying its best to get out. And then the Charizard, the final evolution, is able to fly away. It's a really nice kind of tale that it tells. But let's look at some values. We have September 18th, $132.72, which I believe is its high. It's not its high. That is its original price, its coming out price, but its high is November 13th, $134.98. Its low is roughly over here, $102.62 on April 1st, and then its current value is $128.37. And the final card for this list, the most expensive SIR to be coming out of the Scarlet and Violet era, you've probably guessed it, is the Greninja EX from Twilight Masquerade. This card took the world by storm when it came out. It was already expensive out the gate, and then it has since only increased in price, which is pretty impressive. You thought it would have deflated a little bit by now, but not quite. And I think they did a poll a few years ago of what the most popular Pokemon was, what everybody's favorite Pokemon was. I think Greninja was the top of it, so I think that explains why this card is so expensive. Plus, if you look at the colors, it is fantastic. It's like an explosion of paint and artwork, and it's honestly awesome. It's so nice. Let's look at some values here. We have May 6th, $158.17. It looks like its low is $118.77 on May 13th. From there, it goes up to a value of $299.89 as its high on August 5th, and then its current value is $287.50. So that concludes our list for the 20 most expensive special illustration rare Pokemon cards coming out of the Scarlet and Violet era. The list has obviously updated a little bit since we last did it, and I think the movements of some cards are really interesting to see, and I know for a fact that if I were to do this list again in like 2 weeks, most things would probably be different. I think there's a lot of cards that would go down, and there's a lot of cards that would go up. I'm really excited to see where Stellar Crown fits into this list. I'd love to know your thoughts on all of these cards. What prices surprise you? Which ones are you like, why is that so expensive? And which ones are you like, that should be more expensive? I'd love to know. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next one.